Hey guys, this Friday is the premiere of my new special, Live and Alive, on my YouTube. All right, I'm going to be live in the comments. Make sure you get over there, you join me. There's a countdown going on right now. You can get over there, set a reminder, be there, be live in the comments. You know what happened on my last special? YouTube demonetized it. But when I did the way back, over 2,000 of you guys showed up and we went live and we had a great time. So come join me this Friday, October 24th, 6 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific. I'll be live in the comments for the premiere. Join me. Let's have a good time.
And then they come in and they say, Mr. Sickler, you are lucky to be alive. You have massive pulmonary embolisms. They traveled through your heart. Your heart is swollen twice its size. And we're going to be honest with you, the next 48 hours are touch and go. You're probably going to want to make some calls. And I was like, my phone's dead. I was planning on 3 hours, you know what I'm saying? I came in with it on 66%. I didn't even bother gassing it up. And I knew things were about to get wild when I heard one of the surgeons say, well, Mr. Sickler, you and your phone are about to have a lot in common. I said, oh my God! What kind of bedside manner is that for somebody with Blue Shield Silver? You're talking to me like I got the bronze package right now, and I'm not really feeling it. So back your Kaiser Permanente attitude up and recognize my second-tier status.
The HoneyDew with Ryan Sickler.
Welcome back to the HoneyDew, y'all. We're over here doing it in the Night Pants Studios. I'm Ryan Sickler, RyanSickler.com, and Ryan Sickler on all your social media. And I'm starting this episode like I start them all with gratitude, saying thank you. Thank you for watching this show. Thank you for supporting this show, the guests. I love doing this. And you know what we do here. We highlight the lowlights. I always say these are the stories behind the storytellers. So I'm very excited to have this guest on. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Dolph Lundgren. Welcome to the HoneyDew, Dolph Lundgren. I can't even believe you're sitting there right now.
Thanks, man.
I'm so stoked to have you here. I'll shut up right now and let you do your biz here. Before we get into anything, please promote it all.
Promote it all. Well, I have a few little things. I got a vodka called Hard Cut Vodka, potato vodka, overproof, 90 proof, 45%. You know, potatoes creamier. Only about 1% of all vodkas in America are made from potatoes.
1%?
Yes. Corn is, Tito's is corn. A lot of the other ones are grain, is cheaper and easier. Potato is the original way and Swedish way, but we made it in Idaho.
This is what I wanted to ask you. You're a Swedish guy. So
Yeah.
why, is there a difference in the way Idaho does it than Sweden does it? Because you say the original, but you just...
No, not really.
No?
I don't think so. I think that the Idaho way has been really good. It's a very smooth vodka, and it's 45%, so it has a kick. Like we said, hard cut, smooth finish. So it's been out for about 5 months here in California. We're also in New York, and we're going to Florida in about a month. So, yeah, check it out. We take our vodka seriously, but we don't take the brand seriously. We try to have some fun with it.
That's great. Where and can we find this in stores now yet?
Yeah, this is a Bevmo. And also a Total Wine.
At Total Wine.
And starting
okay.
and we're in some good on-premise accounts like we're at Cipriani, we're at Medeo, Tao, Sky Bar.
They're saying come closer to the mic.
Sky Bar, Tao, Medeo, Cipriani, Mr. Chow. We're at some top restaurants in Beverly Hills and West Hollywood and also in Palm Springs. And we're trying to teach people that vodka doesn't have to taste like aviation fuel. Like most people think it just got to do that thing in the back of your throat. It is as smooth as a tequila, and people seem to like it a lot. So check it out. I'll give you this bottle afterwards.
I
Maybe,
appreciate
depending
it.
on the interview.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
You just said something that resonated with me because tequila. I used to drink tequila a lot.
Yeah.
And
Me too.
I didn't know what good tequila was. I dated a girl years ago who worked at a tequila bar, and she goes, "Let me give you a shot of this up here." And they move a ladder over. She climbs up. And I tell you, Dolph, when I had that, I was like, okay, this must be what it's supposed to be like. We get the dumbed down version in the grocery stores or wherever, but man, and then she gave me that vodka. Oh, just velvet, no burn, no nothing. And then I also think like, I could have 40 shots of this, I feel like,
Or at least 15. Yeah. Yeah, that's the same with vodka. People just aren't really educated about it. Like tequila, when I was a teenager, if you got hold of tequila, it was, you didn't care what it tasted like.
Yeah,
it used to taste terrible. You just want to get drunk.
Beer, all of it.
But there's a more sophisticated way to drink it, and there's this more sophisticated way to drink vodka, and do it with Hard Cut.
Boom.
So that's one thing I'm working on. I have a documentary that's in the works, coming out sometime early next year.
Is that going to be about your life, or are you producing a documentary about something?
Co-produced documentary about me.
About you, okay.
Yeah, it was done by a Canadian company. And then we had some problems in post-production, so I kind of came in as a producer and helped with finding the proper editors and so forth. We're showing it at the Newport Beach Film Festival. That's in October. We're also in Europe, in Italy, at Turin Festival. We've submitted to Sundance, see how that goes. And we're also being shown at TIFF this week, at Toronto Film Festival. Yeah.
All right. And you have a book as well.
There's a book, with HarperCollins. It's a autobiography I wrote with this guy. And it's also kind of focuses on my life. The last 5 years or so of my life have been kind of overshadowed by this cancer journey I had, medical adventure. That was the biggest challenge I've had so far in my life, even though I've been through a lot before that. And both the book and the documentary are kind of, especially the documentary, we had to reframe it because it started shooting it while I was in that and doing the treatments. Actually, I got the first cancer diagnosis just around the time we started shooting. So I didn't tell the producers for a long time, for about 2 years. So when I finally told them,
I'm sorry, I got to interrupt you. You're telling me that you hid your diagnosis from the producers for 2 years while you were doing this documentary?
Yeah, for a year.
How?
1 year. Well, I look good, so they couldn't
But they
tell.
weren't following you to see. We got to get into the story.
No,
Let's get into
they
the
weren't
story.
following me around
Okay.
all the time because it's during COVID. So during COVID, you couldn't really be there all the time.
So you were able to actually keep them shielded from it because of that.
Because I didn't know how serious it was.
Yeah.
But when I realized it was quite serious, then I had to bring them in on it.
So let's jump back to the beginning for a second, because you're an iconic fucking figure from my goddamn childhood. I cannot believe you're sitting over there, brother. I mean, you're everything. You're an expendable, you're Drago, you're all of it, brother.
Thanks.
But let's find out a little bit about you. Tell me about your mom and your dad. What did mom do? What did dad do for a living?
My mom was a linguist in Sweden. I was born in Sweden and outside of Stockholm. My mom was a linguist, came from a kind of upper middle class family. She studied in London and in France as well when she was young, right after the Second World War. And her dad had this radio factory. They were making radio gramophones. Remember those big,
the real pretty ones? That, yeah.
It was like a kind of like a piece of furniture. You may have seen it.
Looked like a flower that came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they had like the gramophone in there, the record player that had like a radio. He manufactured those. And my dad was an engineer. He was from the northern part of Sweden, from kind of a poorer part of Sweden. And he came to Stockholm to study, and then he worked for his future father-in-law, my mom's dad. And then he started dating the boss's daughter.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, you got
it happened the other way around. Not dating first, then hired by dad.
No. No.
Okay, all
he
right.
was hired by dad, then he dated the daughter, and then they got married, and he was still studying at that time. And I was born after about 2 years of marriage in the 50s. So this is 7 years after the end of the Second World War.
And are you your parents' first child?
Firstborn. So I realized later in life that I was born 12 years after they dropped the bomb on Hiroshima. So it wasn't that far. It was like if it would have happened now in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
So
isn't that crazy?
Right around the corner. And that's crazy. Like
that's longer than 9/11 happened ago.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, sooner, closer than.
Closer,
it's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy.
So it was very recent. So when I grew up in Europe, where obviously millions of people had been killed, it was in the shadow of the Second World War, pretty much. And Sweden was a neutral country. Sweden was never invaded or didn't take part. It was kind of a neutral country who sheltered refugees and took in Allied pilots, and got them back to England and so forth. But that's where I grew up.
Okay. And what sort of dad was your dad? Was he a disciplinarian? Was he a strict guy? Was he?
My dad was a character. He was also an army officer. Now, in those days, everybody had to be in the armed services. Mm-hmm. We had conscription in Sweden after the war. He was a captain in the reserves, so he was an officer. I would go with him to different exercises, maneuvers, firing live artillery and machine guns and all this. So that's why I got interested in military matters. Later, of course, this kind of became part of my career, playing soldiers. Mm-hmm. But my dad was a tough guy. He was certainly traumatized from his background, from his upbringing. I realize that now. He was the oldest. His family could only afford to educate one child out of four, so they sent him to school.
Is that right? That's how it worked?
That's how it
one
worked.
To go, huh?
Yeah, back in this is in the 40s.
Okay.
He was born in the 1920s, so he was in the world. He was drafted during the Second World War.
Mm-hmm.
He was very young, but he was on the border, the Norwegian border, where the Germans were, within eye distance of where they were stationed. And they kind of knew that if Germany attacked Sweden, that they would be the first to go, because the German war machine was much more powerful in Sweden. So he always had that in the back of his head, but he was a disciplinarian. He had some trauma. I don't know what it was, but something from his childhood. So he had like he was bipolar, you would say, like a sort of a combination of bipolar and some kind of almost schizophrenia. So he was very violent towards my mother. He beat her a lot, and he beat me. I had 3 siblings, but he never touched them. It was just me and my mom.
Were your other siblings, you have any brothers?
Yes.
So it wasn't a boy-girl thing?
No, it wasn't that. I think I reminded him of myself. I reminded him of himself. And I think also when I was young, I think I was quite strong-willed. I probably didn't do what he told me to do all the time. Maybe I can't remember. And I think perhaps the fact that he was very insecure, I think, as a man. And I think the fact that my mother had this baby boy who she probably, was in love with, and took care and was very kind of doting over me. And I think he was jealous maybe too. Mm-hmm. So there you go.
And so when you grow up, I've read you describe yourself as a runt, and you were an allergy kid too?
Yeah,
I can't imagine you ever being. Tell me that first before you tell me when you hit that growth spurt.
Well, I think what happened was partially I was a late developer, as they say, but I developed something called it's a disease called croup, and something happens in your throat where you can't breathe properly, and I had something called false croup, which is something where it's not quite as severe. They don't normally, otherwise the men have to cut your throat open and put a breathing tube in. But for me, I just had asthma, very serious asthma. And when I did therapy much later, my therapist suggested that it could have been emotionally triggered because, I think my dad probably started beating me when I was around 3 or 4 or something like that. And when you're that age and you have a big man come in your room and you can't escape and you can't fight back, obviously, then you can develop some kind of psychosomatic conditions, but I think this is what it was maybe. So I had that. I was allergies, and also I was kind of a bit sick, from the allergies. I couldn't be out in the sun as much. And then the Nordic countries, when spring hits in April, May, all the pollen just comes out of nowhere for a few months, and then in September it gets cold again. So it's very intense. And in that period when all the other kids were out playing, I couldn't be part of that. So I think I got a little bit weak from that. So yeah, I would stay home, paint, listen to music, I played some drums later, and kind of entertain myself.
And when do you hit that growth spurt and realize you're that dude? When does all that bullying or poking fun, when does all that shit stop?
Well, it was a gradual experience.
Because also, I apologize for interrupting you. I read too that you're, I didn't know how experienced and what a badass you were in martial arts as well coming up. So you're not just a big menacing figure. You also know how to use this fucking frame.
Well, thank you. Well, that's how it started. I was I lived in Stockholm, and my dad would he was beating me, and my grades was really bad. I was skipping school, running away, drinking, smoking, trying to do anything to just dull the pain. And I think he realized when I was about 12 or 13 that I started growing, and I don't think he didn't want to get in a fight with a young man or a boy who was a larger person you couldn't just slap around. So I think he decided at some point to send me off to his parents, my grandparents.
Oh, he sent you
Northern Sweden.
Okay.
So when I got up there, I didn't have any. He wasn't around.
How old are you at this point?
13.
Okay.
Yeah, he wasn't there, and I made friends with guys who were playing ice hockey and doing sports, and that's when I started studying, getting good grades, and also I did start doing some judo, and then later karate. Then I started growing as well, doing push-ups in my room. It was like the classic. There was a sort of a course you could take, in a mail order course, like Charles Atlas kind of, what was it called? It was the bully of the beach, similar thing in Sweden where you could train at home. So I started doing that. So it was about 15, I started growing, and I did karate. And, my first aim was to defend myself against my dad or beat him up to get him back for everything. But by the time I was 17 or so, I part of martial arts is, there's a certain non-violent attitude in the back of it. I mean, you're supposed to have respect for everybody, and you're not supposed to. It's a non-aggressive sort of sport, You learn to defend yourself, but you're not supposed to just hit somebody for no reason.
Right.
So eventually I sort of gave up the idea of beating him up, and I just pursued it as a sport, as a competitive sport.
So dad was just a stepping stone on the way into this shit.
So when I was about 17, I started growing really fast. When you're in a movie theater and you get up and you almost pass out because your circulatory system hasn't kept up.
Bro, I'm 5'10". I've never had that experience in my life. That happened to you at some point with your growth spurt? You stood up and you would get lightheaded?
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure, yeah.
Never. I've never been lightheaded from that.
Well, there it comes.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so that's kind of how it started. And then I started lifting some weights to kind of help me in my sports, to help me pursue martial arts. And it became kind of part of my life. It still is. And, by the time I was 20, 2021, I was Swedish champion and British Open champion, and later I became champion of Australia, European heavyweight champion. So I won a lot of tournaments, and that was the first time I kind of had a little bit of fame. Like I felt it. Something.
Yeah, I mean, that's not just local. You're winning on different continents.
Yeah, where people kind of, I mean, you're not a movie star, but you feel special. And obviously my dad, when he beat me, he always said that I was useless and you're never going to be anything. And, very, very, what do you call it? How you bring up a kid to feel good about himself. Now, he always told me like I was useless. So basically I had that going against me all the time. And it's quite powerful when you're a young kid, because you always love your parents no matter what they do. So you kind of, you're torn between the love for them and then the fact that they're abusing you in some way. And I think it's tough for a young developing mind to sort of get around that, to deal with that. You develop traumas and PTSD and things like I've dealt with for many, many years afterwards.
Yeah, it's a really tough thing because first you have to understand and accept what is happening to you.
Yeah.
Then there's two kinds of people. There's the us's of the world who take that and use it as fuel to push us forward. Other people, they dive into drugs or whatever to cope and, they get lost. So it's a really complicated thing because first you got to get your mind around it and then you got to figure out how to use that to move forward. And you've done that. Your dad saying you're used. My mother used to say the same thing to me, and I was just something in me always knew I wasn't. What's being said to me right now is hate and anger. But something in me always knew it wasn't true. I didn't believe that. I didn't believe what this person was saying. Thank God. Thank God you didn't believe it.
No, I didn't believe it.
You're not sitting here right now. You're probably not even alive. Me either.
I wouldn't have been alive. But the thing is, you internalize it, still internalize it on some level. So even if you kind of know they're wrong, but it does have some impact. And I think, like my therapist told me much later, if you're a soldier in Iraq and you're in a foxhole and you're being shot at every day, and you may think tomorrow's my last day because my buddy got shot yesterday, and then you survive tomorrow, and then the next day it's the same thing. Well, at night you go to bed thinking the same thing. But while you're there and the adrenaline is pumping and you got your 60 machine gun and you're like fighting everybody off and there's no time to think about it. But when you get back stateside and now you're supposed to be a normal civilian and there is no threat anymore and there are no buddies anymore. And that's when all those feelings come back up and the damage that was done because you're not in a safe environment.
When does a man like yourself, a strong man, you're also from a different generation, allow yourself to say, I need help, I need therapy, let me talk to somebody? Because we're not, you're a little older than me, and I'm not even from the generation. I'm from the walk it off generations. You got a problem, fucking walk it off. You know what I mean? When do you hit that point?
I think it started, well, first I did martial arts to get it out of my system, to express it physically, but I didn't really know what was going on. And then I did acting because when I took my first acting class, I was able to, be emotional, to cry, to let my emotions go and feel vulnerable and express that. So that was liberating, but it's like somebody said, you're hijacking your trauma to be a good fighter or to be a good actor. It doesn't mean that when the movie is over, you still don't have those feelings. As we've seen many people in the show business, they end up hurting themselves or, their lives could be very miserable, even though they're very talented. So then what happened was I got divorced. This is much later when I was in my 50s. I was divorced. I got divorced when I had 2 kids, and it was very, very traumatic for me. Part of the reason for the divorce was because I was drinking too much. I was partying. I was staying out late. I wasn't a good dad in some ways, I was traveling, doing movies. Now, granted, my wife and kids, they lived a very good life. I mean, financially and so forth, but I wasn't really available for them. So the marriage fell apart. And then I met this other woman, and I didn't want to ruin that one too. And then I started thinking, well, I was actually at that point in my life, I went on some benders where I wasn't sure if I was going to make it back alive, to my family. And after that, I realized that I need some help. So I started meditating first, actually. Started meditating. And then through somebody there, I got introduced to a therapist. And the guy, interesting enough, he also had a problem with his dad when he was younger. I got close to him. And he was like a competitive marksman, shooter.
Okay, yeah.
So he was kind of a bit of a macho guy, and he'd kind of gone that direction. So he had really understood me, so he started kind of digging into what happened to me. And through those sessions with him over, let's say, a 6-7 year period, I finally, it's like somebody explained, it's like you have a lump of ice in your chest, and it kind of slowly melts. And finally, you're not reacting from that. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you're reacting to things in your life and making decisions, but you're not making the decisions. There's other things making the decisions, and you're like, "What the fuck am I doing?" This is not very smart. And then I make another bad decision, and when that goes away, you're free to kind of live your life the way you should have done it from the beginning, and that's what happened to me.
Good for you, though. You didn't start therapy till your 50s.
No, I started probably when I was about, I was in my 50s, early 50s, yeah.
Can a home security system really call itself security if it only responds once someone is already inside? Traditional security systems only react and take action once someone has already broken in, but SimpliSafe stops crime before it even starts by confronting potential threats the moment they appear. Live agents take action and confront the intruder while they're still outside, letting them know they're being watched on camera, that police are on their way, and triggering a loud siren and spotlight if needed. I have SimpliSafe in my home. We have it here at the studio. It is easy to set up on your own. And now when I leave the house for the day, I have peace of mind knowing I'm being proactive about my security. There are no long-term contracts or hidden fees. You can cancel anytime. Plus, they offer a 60-day money-back guarantee so you can try it and see the difference for yourself. Right now, my listeners can save 50% on a SimpliSafe home security system at SimpliSafe.com/honeydew. That's SimpliSafe.com/honeydew. There's no safe like SimpliSafe. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. BetterHelp therapists have helped over 5 million people worldwide on their mental health journeys. That's millions of stories, millions of journeys, and behind every one is a therapist who showed up, listened, and helped someone take a step forward. October 10th was World Mental Health Day, and BetterHelp is honoring those connections and the therapists who make them possible while showing how easy it is to get guidance from a licensed therapist online with BetterHelp. You hear me talk about the importance of mental health every week on this show. You've heard guests share their experiences too. We believe in therapy. I'm all about getting in that gym too, but hey, work that mind out as well. All right. The right therapist can change everything, and BetterHelp has over 12 years of experience in matching people to the right therapist. BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally, and it works with an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for a live session based on over 1.7 million client reviews. This World Mental Health Day, we're celebrating the therapists who've helped millions of people take a step forward. If you're ready to find the right therapist for you, BetterHelp can help you start that journey. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/honeydew. That's betterhelp.com/honeydew. Now, let's get back to the do. Let's talk about the cancer because obviously cancer doesn't give a fuck about your financial status, your health, nothing.
No.
So you're you're fucking Dolph Lundgren. You're that dude. And then you get diagnosed with cancer. How does that affect you?
It's brutal. I mean, cancer is like one of the worst words that anybody can hear. If you hear the word cancer, it's like,
is that
death sentence.
Did you feel that way when you heard the word?
Yeah. I was actually in Sweden, and I was 10 years ago. I was in Sweden, and I was doing this gumball race. I was going to be in a Ferrari with my oldest daughter, driving from Stockholm through Norway, Europe, fly to San Francisco, go to LA, and end up in Vegas.
Oh, it's a whole little like cannonball run type thing.
Yeah, and they do it over
5,000
miles in 7 days.
Okay.
So, I was very excited about it. Then I'd done some martial arts training, and I saw some blood in my urine. So I was like, I'd had it before, like from a punch or something. It can't happen, So I did a scan, and the guy said, we found a tumor on your kidney, and it could be cancer, And then I had to get on do the race the next day. And as I was sitting in that damn car, of course, I didn't tell my daughter. And I was just thinking about my death.
You're just sitting in the car.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
stuck in the car.
Stuck in there.
I know. It was like a perfect storm. Just when you thought, like a fucking torture chamber. It was like a torture
For real,
chamber.
it's like, hey, here's this. Go think about that while you're stuck.
Now, here's something for you to think about. Basically, your funeral, your estate planning, while everybody was partying around me and getting drunk, and I know it was the worst. No, it was terrible. It was terrible. I was a wreck, and I got back to LA, and
5 days of that too.
5 days.
Holy shit! Not one day. You got a whole week basically of just thinking of that. Oh man.
So I flew back to LA, and I got I saw a surgeon at Cedars, and I had surgery, and they said, "Oh, we got it. We removed it, and now you're gonna have to do tests, scans for 5 years." And I did them, and I still knew I didn't feel 100%, but I tried to tell myself everything was fine. But
what can I ask you? What are you feeling that's off? You know what I'm saying? Like what was going on where you're like, I don't know. Something's different.
What was happening was I still wasn't really that good to myself. I was abusing myself. I was drinking too much.
You were drinking with the can.
I was training too hard. I was not sleeping enough. I mean, I was doing crazy stunts. I was almost like I was trying to prove to myself, now I'm well, so now I'm going to go twice as hard, spar twice with even younger guys, and I was pushing my body, so I was taking some steroids as well.
Were you tired all the time?
No, I was fucking jacked all the time, up, but on a deep level, kind of exhausted, because I don't know if you've been there, but if you're, there are a lot of guys who go to the gym and push themselves, and it's like building a house on shaky ground, because you're not really calm, you're not stable emotionally, your body is not really happy, you're just pushing it, and that could be very dangerous, I think. And I think I did some of that. So whether that had anything to do with it, I don't know, but during COVID, and I met my current wife, I was in Sweden again, just by coincidence, and then they found some more tumors, and that's when it started. That was the bigger battle started there.
So what do they tell you then? That you're doing chemo? What do you have to do for this?
Well, first they want to remove those tumors. They did, and then
now you have a second surgery.
They took a piece of the kidney, just a small piece of that out. Second surgery. I was still pretty strong. Went hiking after a few weeks, lifting weights. I felt pretty good, and I was directing a movie in Alabama. Then the doctor calls and says, we missed something on one of your scans. There's another tumor in your liver. I was like, okay. And they said, well, we could take that out. But then when I got back to LA, it had gotten too big. They couldn't take it out. So now,
can I ask how long from them saying, "Hey, we missed it, we'll take it out when you get back," to you getting back?
Yeah, 3 months.
Damn, and it got that big that they couldn't even do surgery.
Yeah, and and the big shocker is about to come. So they basically said, okay, we cannot take it out. We need to do systemic therapy, which is immunotherapy. You go in once a week, and they give you immuno enhancing drugs that helps your immune system to fight off the cancer. So I took that, and they have, the side effects got pretty bad. In a few months, I started losing weight. You get you get sores in your hands and feet and your mouth. You can't eat cold food or hot food. You have to eat like.
Is that right? I never knew that. Why?
Soft food. Your mouth gets very sensitive.
Oh.
Yeah. To
so
this
you just gotta have
drug.
Basically like a room temperature sandwich?
No, not even a sandwich. It's too rough to bite through.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
so mushy stuff.
Like applesauce and like
room temperature apples.
Yeah, like a kid. Yeah, I know. No, and this is 2021, so I'm still kind of working out, and nobody knows about it, and then it gets worse. So I started losing weight, like lost about 20 pounds. When people start noticing it, so they cut back on the drugs at that point, and our oncologist wasn't a very nice guy. It wasn't easy to. He wasn't very open. Like Emma, my wife, asked a bunch of questions, but he wouldn't really answer. And you got the feeling that the prognosis wasn't very good, but he didn't say anything. And then I went to London, and I was working on Expendables 4 and also Aquaman, the sequel.
That's right, Aquaman.
Yeah, because I was in the first one in Australia, which I shot 2018. We had a doctor in London, and he kind of sat me down and said, got to have a man-to-man talk here. This is really serious, these drugs aren't working, and there's one more drug you can take, and Emma found out too. So now we're kind of both depressed and shocked.
Well, why are they not telling you this in the States?
Yeah.
They know it.
Yeah,
why are they not wanting to verbally tell you this?
Because the guy I was with was he wasn't a good doctor. He had a certain style of like the old school doctors who don't tell the patients everything. They don't communicate. When you're a kid, like you go to even like a school teacher, they didn't think you were worth to tell the truth, right? So he didn't tell us the truth. The guy in London was really cool. I'm still friends with that guy. He basically told us this is kind of serious. We have one more drug you can take, and then I called him after work one day.
Can I ask you again? Sorry, one more drug. And if that doesn't work,
well, then there is no hope.
Damn. So you're hitting your last hope at this point.
Yeah, I started getting there, and then I called him one day after work, after the movie set, and it was tough because I'm in this 3-layer costume, which is this is an Aquaman. There's like a layer that has like some extra muscles on it. Then there's another outer layer of like kind of plastic, like looks like scales, like a fish kind of. I'm playing this king, and it's like a green, shiny costume, and on top of that, there's armor, right? Golden armor. So I'm in this freaking costume with fins on my feet. You can hardly walk, delivering all this dialogue. I'm the king, right? So I have all the freaking dialogue.
I'm going to go watch it again. Nicole
Kidman and, and of course, Jason Momoa. I'm in there trying to make this shit make sense. And then, the drugs make you want to go to the bathroom a lot.
Oh, is that
now,
right?
to go to the bathroom in that suit,
Beth,
you can't. You have to have 2 people to get it off you to go. So I'm in there while they're doing 50 takes. James Wan, the director, will do 40 or 50 takes and stuff, right? And basically having to hold it back, And that was tough. I mean, it was a tough experience. Nobody knew about it.
I was just about to ask, had you still hadn't told anyone
No,
yet?
I told anybody.
Okay.
And then they were shooting the doc at this point too. What happened was I gave the guy a call, the doctor, after work one day, because I didn't want Emma to be there. And I told him, just man to man, what's the situation here? How long do you think I have left? And he said, maybe 3 years. And I said, that's it. And he says, yeah, sorry, but you shouldn't be doing this movie. You should be hanging out with your family. But I heard in his voice that maybe it was more like 1 year or something like that. So now I'm in this kind of a shock state, finishing this movie.
How much more do you have to go when you hear this?
About 2 months.
Holy
So
shit, dude. 2 months on, you got a 36-month sentence,
yeah,
but you think it's 12.
I think it's 12.
So you got 10 left when you're done with this movie if things don't turn out.
So I'm there, and I'm like, I told a few people I had told my manager, I told a good friend of mine, his name is Larry Witzer, who was my business manager at the time. And, he played in a golf tournament with a guy from UCLA, a doctor, and he had said, my friend is kind of sick in kidney cancer, and a friend of mine, and is there anybody you could recommend? So for second opinion, and this guy recommended this female doctor at UCLA. And so I had to get all my charts, all the scans and everything together and email it to her while I'm in London. I'm up at night doing this shit, and I'm thinking, it's a waste of time, but I'm doing it anyway because I'm supposed to have the best guy here already, except they didn't call me once in like 4 months. Nobody had checked on me or anything, the other guy in the States. So I was a little bit concerned, a little upset about that. So I called this other doctor. I sent her all the information. She's a female doctor from Greece originally, but went to Harvard. Her husband is another Harvard guy. And they have a cancer research company. Or he does, the husband. Anyway, she's at UCLA. And, and we spent that Christmas together, me and my wife, at her parents in Norway. She's from Norway. And it was like she said later where she told me later that was our last Christmas together. And I kind of felt the same way, but nobody said anything about it. We couldn't even talk about it so much, because she's quite a bit younger than me. And then I went to see this doctor back in LA at UCLA, and it was like on a Monday, and I had like an appointment on Tuesday same day with that other guy. So I had to cancel the appointment. I said, I can't make it on Monday. And they got really upset. Oh, how much time we spent working you in. And I'm like, hey, I've been gone for 4 months. You haven't called me once, and I'm fucking dying here, and you're complaining to me about your appointment schedule. Hang on a minute. Get your fucking
head out of your ass
and get your, this is a paid.
Get your priorities straight. That's
priorities
crazy.
Straight.
This is how they're talking to someone who's on limited time.
Yeah.
Also, what I mean?
Yeah,
like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Where's your compassion?
They
your
never
empathy?
even said
Nothing.
that. They haven't even said anything.
Right. Yeah. You know it because you're going to a better doctor already.
So I went into the other doctor. We met her, and she was really nice. And she said, as soon as I got these results from you, she hadn't even met me yet. She said there was something that isn't right about this case. So she'd gone back and she had looked at the biopsies that they had it at the other hospital, and she said something isn't right. So we'll do another biopsy, which we did, and she said, I think you've been misdiagnosed. And I was like, we were just looking at each other like, and then we came back a week later, and she said, I was right. You were misdiagnosed. You don't have a classic kidney cancer. You have another mutation that's very unusual, but it was obvious in the biopsies that you had this mutation, and they're
obvious. She said,
yeah, obvious. You saw it right away, and it was all there because I ordered biopsies from back in 2015, and it's the same they were also showed the same thing. They just hadn't looked at it properly. So there was a mutation that she said there are 5 drugs against this that have been used for like 30 years, and we're going to put you on one of them. So she put me on one of the drugs. I immediately got rid of the other doctors. Within 20 minutes, I had 5 new doctors at UCLA. They put me on that drug, and within like 2 weeks, the tumor started shrinking.
Really?
Yeah. And then I did another movie, and within 7 months, they were 90% gone.
And you're feeling okay during this time enough to do another film? I know that's hard ass work on a body.
Yeah, I know I did it because
hours suck, and
I wanted to like,
keep your mind off
keep my
of
mind
it.
off it. So basically, I went through that treatment, and this is 2022. In 2023, they removed all those dead tumors with cryoablation. They freeze them out, and 2023, I did another film in South Africa, and then I got sick from one of those cryoablations. By this time, I'm cancer-free, but I got sick from a side effect I had an abscess in my liver, and was really sick for about 6 months.
Damn.
I was on antibiotics, intravenous antibiotics for 6 months. And then beginning of 2024, everything was gone, and I started training again. And since then, I've been, they call it NED, no evidence of disease.
And how long do you have to go before they say, hey, because I think my friend's mom had breast cancer, and she was a 7-year window maybe of cancer free, and then you're in good shape, I guess.
Well, I have a new therapist. It's called survivorship therapy. And, there's one thing that is certain if you're a human being. Only one thing is certain, is that you're going to die. You, me, the people outside. It's just a matter of when, right? So some of us will die from cancer. Some will get hit by a bus. Who knows? But the thing is, the difference is when you've
some
had
will
cancer,
die in the ring getting killed by a Russian fighter.
Some will go to war. Some will be 100 years old. And,
But thank God. Listen, here's the other thing.
So the thing is there's nothing like to beat cancer. It's not really, you don't think of it that way. You think of it as, I could die from cancer. I could die for something else. But the difference is that it's like you say, everybody can joke, say, well, we could all get hit by a bus tomorrow. But if you've had cancer, you have seen the bus, you know the number of the bus. It's a little different. But basically for me, right now, I can train. I'm almost as strong as I was before.
Wow. And you're how old?
67.
Fuck. And you're cancer-free?
Cancer-free. And,
Go for
and
you.
I have something to share with people, and I try to help other people.
I was going to ask.
The same thing.
Yeah, you do.
I'm going through a lot of that, especially with a doc. I have other friends that there's like one guy now who I try to support him. He's 3 years after me. I'm 2 years ahead of him. And I talk to him, try to make him feel better, try to help him with his, to explore different second opinions and so forth. And that's where I'm at right now.
Good for you, man. I'm very happy for you.
Yeah, thanks.
Also, good for you for not taking no for an answer. Like I say all the time on this show, you know what they call the guy who finishes last in med school? Doctor.
Yeah.
You had a shitty one. He's a doctor.
Yeah.
He's a doctor, but he's not a fucking good one.
Yeah, you're right.
There's a lot of those out there.
Call a plumber over and
I say all the time to you, got to be your own advocate. You know what's going on inside you.
Yeah.
Just because this professional is saying you're wrong doesn't mean you're wrong.
No,
it does not. So good for you, because if you don't go find this lady,
no, I would have been dead.
You're done.
Sure.
All because of a misdiagnosis.
Yes. Somebody,
that's fucking wild. And then you think, how many people has that happened to?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. A lot of people.
I'll bet.
And hopefully the second opinion, which is it's difficult because you're under somebody's care, and you don't want to upset them. You don't
Right.
want to make them mad at you.
You're also not a doctor, and I
No.
don't want you to think I'm telling you how to do your job
No.
here. But yeah,
And it's a tough situation for the patient, because, it's very hard to be an advocate sometimes. I was lucky. For me, it was just lucky that guy played a golf with somebody, and this other doctor was an extraordinary, this woman, Alexandra is her name. She was an extraordinary individual who was very, very smart. And she doesn't just take things at face value. She really looks at it like a real scientist.
Mhm.
There was a lot of physicists, and then there was Einstein, right? Same education, he just had.
But here's the
mind.
thing too. That lady did her. I'm not saying she's smarter or anything. She just did her job better. You
Yeah.
said they had the same
Yeah.
set of
same
scans
Yeah, they
from
had the
2015.
same
information she
Yeah.
did, and right away she's like, "Oh no! Just looking at all this, it's this. This guy probably didn't fucking know it all.
No.
Didn't even look at your
No, he
past."
didn't.
Yeah.
It's like they say, great.
What's his name? Let's out him right now.
a doctor-
I'm just kidding.
No, but they said, what is it? A good doctor treats the disease, and a great doctor treats the patient.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So it's like, everybody's different.
Cancer survivor Dolph Lundgren. Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
thanks,
How's
man.
that feel?
Feels good, man.
Yeah, it does.
It changed my life.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and the one thing I talked to my therapist about, my survivorship therapist, is like, if cancer had not come into my life, I may have killed myself doing something else.
Just being
A stunt,
reckless.
being reckless, physically abusing myself, steroids and training or something. Because I had this sort of death wish kind of attitude from the beginning. That's why I was a good fighter and, good at doing crazy stunts and stuff like that. You have to have a little wild hair in there somewhere. But,
Yeah.
but no, if it wasn't for cancer, maybe I would have been dead anyway. So it saved my life in a strange way.
That's great to hear also.
Yeah.
Good for you for having that outlook. I hear you on that.
Yeah,
I do.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Sometimes you look back at some of the worst things. You're like, if that doesn't happen, I'm not here.
Yeah,
Yeah. Good for you.
I think so. Thanks, man. No.
I wanted to ask you a couple more questions. So
Yeah.
I read a story. We'll shift gears, go a little lighter here.
Sure, good.
I don't know if this is
Sorry
light,
about
but
this cancer.
No,
bullshit.
this is what the show
Hope you
is.
guys
Do
can take
not
it.
apologize for your cancer.
You have some protein here.
What year was it here? See, May 2009 is a story I read. 3 masked burglars break into your home. You're not there.
Yeah.
They rob your home. Is your wife at the time there?
Yes.
She's
She
home.
was
So it's
there,
a home
yeah.
invasion.
Mm.
And they sounds like saw family photos around the house, like, oh shit, this is Dolph Lundgren's house, and they just got the fuck out of there. Is that accurate?
A little bit like that, yeah. More or less. Yeah, they gave back some watches
I
and some
think it's
jewelry.
no, you got shit back?
Yeah.
I just assumed they stopped halfway through and hauled ass. I didn't know you got shit back. That's definitely what happened.
Well, lucky I wasn't there, or would have been ugly.
That's fucking crazy, dude. I didn't know you got shit back. That's definitely it's too good, man. That's too good. All right, here's something I really want to ask you.
Yes.
You're such an icon. Is your first big breaks the Russian and Rocky?
Yeah, I had a small break before that in the Bond movie with Roger
That's
Moore.
right. You were in his
View to
last
Kill.
one. That was his last Bond,
His last
I think,
one,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
View to Kill. But that was just a walk-on part because my girlfriend at the time, Grace Jones, was
Grace
in it.
Jones, yeah.
Yeah, Rocky was my first break. It was a great role, obviously well written. Stallone did a
And you're
great
not
job.
even Russian.
No,
You're Swedish.
But I looked the part. So
And I read that you auditioned. They passed first, but there were I don't know. Again, the internet's wrong. About 5,000. Is that about accurate?
yeah, I think so. That's what Sly told me. Yeah.
He beat out 5,000 guys.
He was looking for a lot of. I mean, the Rocky series was very successful, and Rocky III was a film I saw when I was fighting in Australia. I remember I was listening to Eye of the Tiger, and little did I know I was going to be in the next one, crazy enough. But only a few years later. But he was looking at a lot of different people, fighters and Russians, non-Russians.
What made him come back to you after passing the first time?
What happened was he didn't see me the first time. He was a casting agent in New York.
Gotcha.
And then he got my photo through his buddy, John Hertzfeld, who's a director, a friend of his. Got my photo, and then I got called in. I met him. Paramount Studios. He had long hair. He was going to do Rambo 2. He was all tanned, and I got starstruck, and he told me, I got 5,000 guys up for this role. And, and then you got to put on some weight, So, like, I was a bit skinny. My upper body was...
Were you a fighter then, or were you
fighter.
More martial arts?
Martial arts.
Were you a boxer, I guess?
was a martial arts champ who was trying to be a boxer.
Okay.
In New York. So I was training...
Oh, so you were already trying to box a bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was training at Gleason's gym with Jerry Cooney and back in those days. And then I had to practice a monologue, and then I had to do a screen test later that year. And, I was mean, 2 Russian guys left. But they were doing it like a Russian Mr. T. I will break you. I will crush you.
Oh, yeah.
And I decided to just play it very cool, internal. And with my acting coach in New York, he was very smart. He said, you don't have to do anything. The look is so strong. You just stand there.
It's a great fucking call.
I must break you. Just keep it internal, So
that's a great call.
Yeah,
and just he's just calm psycho.
Yeah,
I must break.
Yeah. I know.
That's way better.
Yeah,
it's more menacing and terrifying than some jackass bouncing around the ring in front of me. Yeah, it is, man. Like, holy fuck, who's this guy?
Yeah, I know.
So I wanted to ask you, because I mentioned before we recorded, this is 85.
Yeah.
Mikhail Gorbachev now is in power in Russia. We're trying to get along with the Russians a little bit here, but there's still a lot of the... And I know the message at the end is we all can change, is the whole thing. But after you do that role, are you getting the death threats? Are you getting hatred? What is happening to you after that? Like from the people, not the industry, the people in the streets.
People in the street. It was mixed. I mean, one way I sort of portrayed as Frankenstein's monster, and Frankenstein is the Soviet state, and the monster is kind of, you feel a little sorry for the monster, the way the story went. So I think some people, especially the young ladies, kind of liked my character because he was like kind of unreal looking, and very fit. And there was a little bit of grumbling on the, up in certain African-American areas, up north of 120th Street.
Why, because you killed Apollo Creed?
Yeah, killed Apollo, man. What'd you kill Apollo for? Yeah, there's a bit of that.
You're getting out when you're out in the street to yell.
Now I get it once in a while, but I think what happened was...
Why'd you kill Apollo, man? They're doing that shit to you.
But I think, most people, one, know it's a movie, and two... they kind of they respect great athletes. So it was like in the first picture, Apollo Creed was a bit of a dick, right? The way,
arrogant,
but people
cocky.
were arrogant, but people still looked up to him because he was a world champ, and he he did beat Rocky in the first one. I mean, Rocky was the real emotional hero. Second one, same thing again. But this time Rocky wins, but you still look up to Apollo. And the third one, they become friends. And in our case, we're not friends.
You lose Mickey in the third one.
You lose Mickey, yeah.
You lose Mickey.
But,
so there's a big loss there.
But Apollo comes back and helps Rocky. And then, in my movie, Rocky IV, at the end, the way it's kind of, the sort of subtext at the end is that, we should all come together. And there were two guys, not 20 million or whatever he says, So, and I'm kind of there looking all beat up, and you feel a little sorry for me with my Bridget Nielsen, my wife. And so I think, there was a little bit of hate in the beginning, but on the whole, it was pretty good. I mean, I did star in my next picture. You know, I was starring as He-Man. It was kind of an American hero.
Yeah,
so.
Masters of the
So it went
Universe.
okay, you know,
That's
we did okay.
huge.
You know, so yeah.
Did you sustain any injuries? I read that you put Stallone in the hospital. Something about his heart for 9 days.
He went in the hospital. He got hit in the body a little hard.
From
I think.
you?
From me, I think. Yeah, for sure. Nobody else hit him but me. But he told me what to do, so I just did what he said. You know, hit me hard, Dolph. You know. And then he hit me too really hard.
Did you break any bones?
No, I had some injuries.
There's no way to not get hit doing something like that.
I had a back injury that I still have a little bit left.
You know, going in, you're going to take some shit.
Yeah, for sure. But I was young, strong, and
Hey, how old were you in that movie?
27, I think.
Whew.
And I was, I was used to fighting, you know, for real. You know, when you guys really try to knock you out. So for me, it was really tough, but it wasn't as bad as when it's real, you know. So
well, your character's so, you know, well loved in the history of that movie. Was it Creed 2?
Yeah, Creed 2. I was back.
You're back in that.
Kind of became friends with Rocky to some degree, and Michael B. and all that. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun to go back and actually on the Creed 2, I was able to kind of channel my dad a little bit.
Tell me about that.
Well, you know, I have a son in the movie, and I'm kind of torturing him to kind of win back the belt and do what I couldn't do. And, you know, I was able to kind of play my dad to some degree. I mean, even my brother said when he saw the movie, he realized I was acting like our dad.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Did you tell him that's who I channeled for that?
Yeah, I told him, yeah. And it was quite powerful for me because it made me realize also, which I already done, but on a deeper level that, you know, like they say, we're victims of victims.
Mm-hmm.
What did he go through when he was a little kid? You know, what happened to him, you know? And it was the same with my character, Ivan Drago in Creed 2. He had gone through so much pain that even the audience, I think, felt a little sorry for him. So it was almost like my relationship with my son in the movie mirrors my relationship with my dad. But in this version in the movie, we end up hugging. And I say, you know, don't worry about it. It's okay. It's okay. He lost, but it's like I say, I love you. I don't care if you win or lose. But when I worked on that character, I was working with his coach, Larry Moss out of New York, is really good. And he did say that if we set the character up, that Ivan Drago in the whole world is the last guy who will throw in the towel, will never fucking give up. He said the script at the end of the fight, when I walk up to the ring and people think, what's he going to do? Get in there himself? And then I throw in the towel, it's going to be like, whoa, fuck, you know, this is like powerful. And it was. And then I hugged my son, and I thought that was a great moment, you know. It's really, I remember we shot the scene, and I looked over in the audience, and the extras, some of the girls were crying, and it was good, you know.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks,
dude.
man.
Thank you so much. You don't even know. Last question.
Yeah.
Advice you would give to 18-year-old Dolph Lundgren.
18.
I mean, excuse me. That's the first time I've ever messed that up. 16. Why am I saying 18? 16 years old.
16. Okay, I would say I would give him a big hug and say, don't worry. It's all going to be, everything's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. Just be yourself. And don't worry so much.
Dude, that's great. You're the first person, by the way, to say you would hug yourself. We've been doing this for years.
I would.
No one's ever first said I would hug. Yeah, that's a great answer.
I would.
If I yell, throw the damn towel right now, will you say, if he dies right there? Will you do it?
Sure.
Oh, yeah. Throw the damn towel.
If he dies, he dies.
Dolph Lundgren, thank you so much. Please promote whatever you'd like again. Your vodka, you've got a documentary, you've got a book at HarperCollins. Tell them everything here.
No, you got it. That's it for now.
Where can we get Hard Cut again? You said
Bevmo and Total.
Great.
Total Wine.
And you're in some local restaurants here in LA and Beverly Hills?
Yeah, we're in Beverly Hills.
All right.
Mr. Chow, and at Chow, at Madeo, at Cipriani, at, bunch of different restaurants. And soon to be in the Independence, too.
Great.
Favorite liquor store. We'll be right there.
And your doc and your book, HarperCollins. What's the book called?
We haven't decided really yet.
Okay.
But we have a couple of titles.
All right.
The doc's called Dolph Unbreakable.
Fuck yeah. Thank you so much, brother. It was a real pleasure to have you in here.
Thanks, man.
As always, Ryan Sickler on all your social media. We'll talk to y'all next week.